Hi, within this lecture, we're going to reconsider how we send our commands to be executed in Windows. So right now, actually I have a working backdoor, right? So I can run dir and I can see the results. But I have some issues. Maybe I want to change directory. And of course, I will want to change directory since I don't want to be stuck in one single folder, right? So this is now in the folder where I have just started my backdoor. So if you run cd, it will show you the current working directory. So it's in the desktop and my backdoor is in the desktop. But if I do this, it will be still on the desktop. Even though I ran cd ... it didn't go to IE user, okay? And it means that change directory is not working. So we have to make sure that cd commands get executed as in the way that we want. And in order to do that, we're going to change our way of sending data, our way of executing commands. Right now, we are sending these commands as string, right? But we want to send these commands as a list so that we can understand and we can differentiate these spaces, and we can say something like that. cd desktop, so it will understand we are trying to change the directory. Or if I just do this download python.txt, for instance, it will understand we are trying to download a text file. So we want our backdoor to have the capability of understanding two separate words, two separate commands, and treat them as separate as well. So if I say download python.txt, I will be able to just assess the first index of the list, which is download, and see if it's download, and then I will be able to understand I'm trying to download something called python.txt, and I can get python.txt from the second index of my list. So rather than just plain strings, I'm going to use lists. And here, when I hit Ctrl+C in my keyboard, it just gives me keyboard interrupt error. And we want to fix that as well, because as you can see in Windows, it doesn't work as well. So I'm trying to Ctrl+C out of that, and it takes a while. So what I really want is that I have to have a quit or exit function here, and when I type quit or exit, it will end the session in my listener, and it will end the session in here as well. As you can see, it took me a while to get out of that session. So we will just add this functionality in our listener in this lecture. So here we are getting this command input from user, right? So in row input section in here, we are saying that enter a command, and once the user enters a command, we take this and send it to the other computer. So we are doing this with JSON, okay? And JSON just sends it as a package. And if we try to send this as a list, JSON won't care, because it doesn't matter for JSON whether it's a list or string, it will still send it as a package. So I can just say command input in here, okay, is not a plain string anymore. I'm going to convert this to be a list, and I will do this with .split method. So command input .split, and I'll show you how it works. So when you say split, you have to specify something to split the sentence. Like you can say dot, you can say space, you can say comma, whatever you want. I'm going to use space in this case. Or let me show you how it works and you can understand it better. So if I had a string like this, James.Hatfield, if I say dot split with dot, it will create a list containing James and Hatfield as two separate elements. Now if I say something like space, and if I have a string like this, so let me delete this here, like CD downloads, it will create a list with CD and downloads in it. It will just split the sentence based on spaces. So I can get CD or I can get download with the first index, and I can get the second index as well. So I can understand what I'm trying to do and with what I am trying to do. So I'm trying to download something and I'm trying to download python.txt. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to add this one line only because it will create my list here and it will send it using JSON. So JSON doesn't care, as I said before, and here we use json.dumps, and this data, whether it's a string or list, it will still get sent as one single packet. So it won't matter for JSON. So actually, within this whole period, I just added one single line. Okay? And it will still work because, as you might remember, we just execute this command with subprocess, and subprocess is able to execute commands in lists or in strings as well. So it doesn't matter for subprocess also. So now it will take care of my command execution way for me. Now I'm going to add my quit functionality in here. So before I send this data, before I send this command, I will check to see if my command is actually the quit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an if statement. And actually in this case, I don't have to use self-dot because it just gives command input in here. It takes raw input from here and it uses as an input. It isn't an attribute here, so I don't have to use self. I can just say if command input is actually the quit. And where do I get this? I get this from command input first index. Rather than saying command input, I have to say command input 0. So the first index of command input is quit. If it is quit, then I'm going to do something else rather than just sending the data as it is. Because now I know that user is trying to quit the session. Also, we could have used exit as well. So if user quits, I will just say self.myConnection.close. So it will close my connection, and in order to get out of this tool, I'm going to just call exit. And after that, I'm going to send this input anyway. I'm going to send this data anyway. So it's better to do that before exiting, okay? So let me cut it and paste it in here because my backdoor has to know that this listener has quit the session, right? So I'm sending my command input anyway. Then I'm going to quit in here. and of course I will have to adjust my backdoor as well. So I only did my listener part this far. So I am done here. I'm going to save this, okay? And I'm going to move to my Windows. Let me open my backdoor here, and where I'm getting my comment. I'm getting my comment after I start the socket here in while true loop. So it is receiving in here, and after I receive my comment, I will check to see if comment 0. So now we are receiving lists rather than just plain string. So if comment is quit, I will call self.myconnection.close again, and I'm going to say exit. So it will take me out of that software, out of that tool. If it is not quit, I will execute my command as it is, but if it is quit, actually I'm going to exit. So we don't have to do anything in here right now. So I'm going to save this, right? And later on we're going to add some more functionalities here as well, but for right now let's test if these changes work or if we broke something. So let me go back to my listener and let me just clear this and run my socket listener, and let me run my backdoor here. So if we go back, we have the connection. If I run dir, now it's okay. So it's running. If I run ipconfig, I get the result as well. So let me try and quit out of this tool right now by writing quit. And as you can see, it ended the session and it just got out of the tool. And if we go back here, it's done here as well. So let's stop here, and within the next lecture we're going to discuss how to implement CD feature in our backdoor.